Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraят. Nastapray Svabhadre Sunityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10, titled The Opulence of the Absolute, and the verse number is 38. Dando damayatam asmi, nitir asmi jigisatam, maunam chaivasam guihanam, jnanam jnanavatamaham. Dando damayatam asmi, nitir asmi jigisatam, maunam chaiva asmi guihanam, jnanam jnanavatam aham. Word by word meaning danda, punishment. Damayatam, of all means of suppression. Asmi, I am. Niti, morality. Asmi, I am. Jigisatam, of those who seek victory. Maunam, silence. Cha, and Eva, also. Asmi, I am. Guihana, of secrets. Jnanam, knowledge. Jnanavatam, of the wise. Aham, I am. Translation by His Divine Graces Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of the wise, I am the wisdom. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. There are many suppressing agents, of which the most important are those that cut down miscreants. When miscreants are punished, the agency of chastisement represent Krishna. Among those who are trying to be victorious in some field of activity, the most victorious element is morality. Among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating, silence is most important because by silence one can progress very quickly. The wise man is he who can discriminate between matter and spirit, between God's superior and inferior natures. Such knowledge is Krishna himself. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurmulitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manofistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayangrupa Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Suyutapatakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Barijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Visakha Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneswari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Panchakalpataru Kripa Sindhu Vai Vachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivash Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha of Bhagavad Gita discussion. And today on this 38th verse, we are discussing about the four attributes Krishna is signifying as his vibhutis. This chapter is all dedicated to the power and vibhutis and the opulences of Krishna. And he's going one after other to, he is this, he is that. And why is he doing this? Sometimes people may think, Krishna is trying to show off. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But actually, for impersonalists, if Krishna will not end up doing this, they will never understand the importance and the significance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why Krishna is trying to explain to the common masses, the common impersonalist, that, hey, I have so many qualities. Most of the qualities are attributed through various of my pastimes, and you may not have understood me. But here in this chapter, I'm going to explain to you about all the opulences of my absolute. So here Krishna is explaining four of his very prime attributes for opulence. So here Krishna is saying when there is dando, when there is punishment, then the punishment can be done for various different reasons. Most of the time, when a kid is very small, often the punishment is not done. But when the kid goes slightly bigger and is less than 15, Chanakya Pandit says, we should chastise the kid. We should give little indication to him so that is is cleansed. He realizes the importance of the fault he is doing, and then he should end up fixing himself. So Krishna is saying when there is punishment, then then during the punishment, then there is an aspect of correction. So that's the reason why most of the facilities here are not called jail, they are called correctional facilities, because the intent of you being put in a punishment facility is not to score something, not to tell you that you're trying to do this mistake, but to make sure you do not repeat that again in a society where everything coexists. You should live in a very coexist way, and sometimes when you lead um, different things and you do not follow the protocol, we have to have you punished. So, and Krishna is saying, is of this punishment, Krishna is the punisher. And so it's the correct, he is basically takes care of the correctional process. And so when you think about what is correctional process, you know, whenever you have a car, the car has a body and the car has a software which runs the engine. So likewise, your human body is actually part and parcel of Krishna. You have a body where Krishna says, Aham Bija Pradapita and Aham Sarvasva Prabhu. Everything comes from me. And the subtle things like the mind, intelligence, and senses also come from Krishna. So the part of the car comes from the manufacturer, the the subtlety of the car comes from the manufacturer. If everything comes from the manufacturer, when the car breaks down, you go to a different manufacturer. He is not going to fix the car because he didn't manufacture it in the first place. Likewise, when Krishna has created us, Aham Bija Pradapita, Aham Sarvascha Prabhu, and he is giving this mind, intelligence, false ego. And when we break down, whenever we have problems in our life, we go to different demigods, different, you know, and that is not how a broken car needs to be fixed. A broken car needs to be fixed by going to the source. And that is, as a Krishna consciousness person, we have to tell everybody that, hey, we are made with certain attributes, made from Krishna, built under Krishna, and used under Krishna. So if we end up if we end up making mistakes, if we end up uh, showing our problems and we resort to different people, we are not going to get the fix. And that is the problem in this world, because the problem is somewhere and we are going to somewhere else to do the fixing. So the correctional process in the form of fixing certain things, or the aspect of trying to revive or revitalize that which is missing in our life, is Krishna. And here, when Krishna is saying this danda and the correctional process, we should recognize that whenever we are in trouble, like a person is in trouble and he goes to jail, but jail in the United States is not called jail, they are called correctional facility. So the correction can only happen when we get in touch with Krishna and his devotees. And that is a very subtle point which is there in this verse, which we are missing. That when the manufacture is somewhere, when the blueprint is done somewhere, when the body is created with so much of 9 months of invocation, and the soul is imprinted on you through the mercy of Krishna, and whenever there is trouble, we go to other manufacturers. So that's something we have to carry away today, that if there is a correction in our life, we have to resort to Krishna. We have to resort to the Lord of the universe. We have to resort to someone who can give us the element of bliss in this age of Kali. The only aspect is chanting the holy name, who can only give us the holy name in this. So that's why when Jagai and Madai were fighting, and Jagai hit Nityanand Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, got very angry. He invoked the Sudarshan Chakra. But at the same time, Madai was telling to Jagai that, hey, don't beat such an exalted person. So when, fast forward, when Gauranga Mahaprabhu invoked the Sudarshan Chakra, and Nityananda Prabhu told him, don't invoke the Sudarshan Chakra. You're in this Leela of yours, you are not meant to do this. You are meant to spread the loving devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You have other avatars where you end up killing in a different way. Varaha Dev is killing in a very ferocious way. Hiranyakashipu is being killed by Nrsimhadev in a very ferocious way. So you have other times, you have other avatars, you have other incarnations when you're supposed to be ferocious. But to Jagai and Madai, you're not supposed to be like that. So cool down, Prabhu. And then Mahaprabhu calmed down. And when Mahaprabhu recognized that Madai was preventing Jagai from hitting Nityanand Prabhu, he embraced uh, Madai. And when he was embracing, people had seen that the golden color of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned dark, and he took all the bad qualities. And after that, Jagai and Madai became the topmost devotee, as if they have done nothing wrong in their life. A person who has done everything wrong in their life, after the kripa, after the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was a 180-degree change. So the punishment is for cleansing, and we should know where to go for punishment. And that is a key tenet which is coming into our life through this verse. So whenever we have a fight which breaks out, and somebody takes a shot, um, and if a person takes a shot and then he becomes handicapped, the person in the battlefield, they do not leave them. They take him to a correctional facility or a medicinal facility. They get the bullet out, get him ready for the next battle. Our process is about correcting someone. None of us who came to Krishna consciousness had all the piety in the past. We had a lot of challenges, and we have recognized that the place where we can only be corrected, we can only be given danda, when we can only be austere enough, is this process. And that's the reason why we came here. So the aspect of danda and punishment, when Krishna is saying, I have created you, the manual, the blueprint is mine. There's no need for you to go somewhere else. So I can define punishment. As you know, in this social policies, the punishment is a very strategic thing. The punishment has a lot of aspect built into it, in terms of how crowded our prisons are, and so many things. But the real tenet of punishing someone is to make him get better. And Krishna is saying, I can only get you better. You just have to come to me and nowhere else. And the second thing Krishna is saying, those who seek victory for them, I am morality. And actually, going back to the punishment aspect, Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamaham. That means Krishna wants to enjoy with his associates. But at times, when things go haywire in his own kingdom, then he has to come taking an incarnation. And that's where Krishna in 4.7 says, wherever there is a decline of dharma, he comes. Wherever there is a decline in the religious practice, he comes. And the irreligiosity is curbed by his appearance. So, as you can see, the 4.7 and this 10.38 are so correlated that of all the dandas, Krishna is going to imbibe on us. And sometimes you might have seen your Guru Maharaj may have come and he will chastise you. And those chastisements are so sweet. So the punishment when is imbibed on you is not for your wrong things. It is actually for our benefit. So, so whenever I personally got chastised from my Gurudev or another uh, exalted Vaishnava from our community, I felt that really turned me better as an individual or as a devotee. And we can go on to that in a different offline conversation. But the point here is whenever these personalities, they look at you, their intent is to cleanse you from the, the heinous activity we all are pursuing in our non-devotee life, and it is done for the betterment. So the danda of Krishna has to be taken in the right context. As you can see, all the people who got killed by Krishna were delivered. Putana was delivered. Trinavat, everybody were delivered. So, so the so there is good in Krishna's good. There is good in Krishna's bad. We just have to recognize what we're trying to do here. And Krishna so eloquently is saying, "I am that danda. I am that punishment in here." And secondly, um, Krishna goes on to say that of the victory, I am the niti or the morality or the strategy. So, as you know, you might have played some games. You will realize that most of the games are played before the game is played. What I mean by that is the strategy, the rananiti, or the intent of who we are going to go after in the form of a, cricket or bowling or batting. The strategy is very so the weak links are generally identified, and people go after the weak links very so the strategy, the rananiti, the niti, the morality. So whenever we want to win somewhere, whether it is our job or somewhere, our intent has to be is the morality of our strategy, of our execution of the strategy, good enough? If it is not good enough, we are probably going to fail. So Krishna is saying that whenever you have victory in mind, get your strategy right, get your facts right, get your morality right. Don't think that we're doing something wrong by harming somebody, you're going to win. It's not going to happen. So anytime you are trying to do something, see that if somebody is not being harmed in your activity or execution of activity. And that is very key here. So Krishna, through the second thing, he's saying, when you're trying to go after victory, in trying to strategize victory or trying to go after the niti, make sure your morality is good enough. And I am that morality. If your morality is not good enough, I'm not going to help you. So whenever there is a very um, cruel aspect built into winning something, you'll see there are problems. But if in any of the Srila Prabhupada projects, you'll see the 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 intent is to help the common mass, help the people who are going to get benefited by Krishna consciousness. And that is the reason why Srila Prabhupada's all the projects are so successful, because the morality or the niti or the strategy is plain, is simple, is not having any form of uh, darkness, if I may, and is always intended for the helping of the masses. And so if you're doing something, do something right for others, then Krishna is going to come and help you. But if you're doing something wrong for others, Krishna is not going to help you. And that is exactly what Krishna is saying here. Those who seek victory for them, I am morality. Very profound. We just have to understand it like that. So niti or strategy for victory is very, very important. So, and then Krishna goes on to say as the third thing, of secret things I am silence. Very profound. You might have seen a prime minister of India. He was our prime minister in late 80s and early 90s. In press conferences, when he will be heard with very difficult questions, most of the time he will keep quiet because he knows that by saying something, he may appease somebody else. By saying something else, he might appease someone else. So he's not going to satisfy everybody in this. So most of the time, when you are in trouble, silence is the best policy. And and whenever there is any secrecy built into any strategy, silence is very important. And that is where we have a verse from Nectar of Instruction in the next page to discuss a little bit about. And then those who are very conscious, those are very conscious in dealing with Krishna conscious activities, they often speak less. You will see that when a person is very knowledgeable, he would speak less. A tree filled with mango is often bowed down because he has all the humility to uh, execute. And the people who are very bright, they keep to themselves and they speak very less. So there is a lot of takeaway from this third aspect of this verse, that we should speak less in our lives. And when we speak less, Krishna is going to come and help us. And for the wise people, Krishna is the wisdom. So whenever we have philosophical discussion, whenever there is arguments, whenever there is this aspect of winning a point or winning a group discussion, you'll realize that there is a subtle wisdom. Once you put the wisdom into the argument, you win the argument. So Krishna is saying, in the among the wise, I am that wisdom. So I have that spark which comes and basically helps you at the time of executing your wisdom. So very profound. These four things Krishna is saying is very profound. And going about speaking less, in Nectar of Instruction, um, Rupa Goswami says, Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udaro Pasta Vegam, Etan Vegam, Yo Visheta Dhira, Sarvam Apimam Prithiving Sasisya. So that means the first thing, Krishna, and today morning also it was discussed, that when a frog is in the well, by doing walking, he basically invites the snake to come and eat him. So it is very important that that particular aspect is so relevant to speaking less. Speak what is required, but don't speak for the sake of speaking. And that is why the first thing of Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita by Rupa Goswami said, Vacho Begam. That means quite a lot of time, often we speak more, and that gets into trouble. So don't speak a lot. Keep quiet. There's no, if you do not have a message to convey, there's no need to talk. And from these things, as you know, Bhagavad Gita is a manual of life, how to deal with life, how to lead our life, what to do, what to eat, what to how to talk, how to interact. If you go by the manual of life, if you see, every organization has a mission statement. ISKCON has a mission statement. What is the mission statement, generally speaking? To basically lead our life based on the footsteps, following the footsteps of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and take a lot of uh, tenet from Sixtastakam, the way, and chant the holy name, and that's the mission statement. So if we do not have a mission statement, we are not very clear about our intent. So if we think we are deviating away from Krishna consciousness by going away from the mission statement of ISKCON, then we have to be very careful that we have to come back to the interstate we have left. So if the mission statement takes you in an interstate somewhere, then you just have to align yourself and come back, not take tributaries, not beat around the bush, because it is very important that we lead our life in a proper way, in a quiet way, like Krishna is saying how silence helps, silence is golden, and how silence helps in our life. And there are many things, many pastimes Krishna has executed in Vrindavan, where just by being silent, he has overcome the enemy, and that is the reason why. So all this four is is very important for us in terms of how to recognize the punishment, how to take the punishment in the right spirit, how to not get uh, carried away by the punishment which is given to us, then how to strategize for victory so that we have the morality in the outcome of something we are planning to do. We're trying to help someone, but at the end of the day, if it is going to hurt someone, it's not going to help us. And of the secret things, Krishna is talking about how just by being silent, you can maintain the secrecy. And you see so many wars are going on right now, and because everybody is saying this is our hospitals are here, our our colleges are here, you're basically giving information to the enemy to come and bomb it. So it's very important for us to use silence as a strategy and morality as a strategy in our wisdom. So if we go with this um, blue book or the mission statement book, like how it is explained by Bhagavad Gita, by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, we will be very successful in our life in trying to take the punishment in the right spirit, taking the how to strategize to essentially take morality into our lives in coming up with a niti or a strategy, and then um, how we can use silence to our benefit. You don't have to talk all the time, like quacking of the frog who invites the snake to come and eat him. And then how we have to execute our wisdom in the right sense by taking a leaf from Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a storehouse of wisdom, actually. Every verse is full of wisdom. And if we pluck it the right way and we use it the right way, it's going to benefit us. So we can go on actually about these four traits, but I'd like to end here. Um, I'm sure you have some comments, corrections, reflections, because I would like to hear how this verse may have touched you in your approach to your lives, in your Krishna conscious life. So let's open up by having some discussion and try to learn from each other, because that's essentially is the purpose of all this discussion, because Bhagavad Gita is the FAQ, the frequently asked question in our life, and if we use it to the right way, then we get benefited mutually. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Any comments or reflections, Prabhuji or Mataji?
Yeah, thank you so much, Hemajaganath Prabhu.
No.
Sorry, initially I got a call and then I didn't realize that I was speaking. It was not on mute. Okay.
That's okay. So
So,
we have four things in this verse. If anybody would like to weigh in or have a comment or reflection about how to understand this verse for our mutual benefit, I thought we'll lead into a discussion for the next 10-15 minutes, before we end.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, dear devotees, please open up. This is a wonderful section, and this is we all can pitch in and talk about and realizations and comments, whatever we would like to discuss, so that it's a very wonderful forum. Sometimes we may not be able to talk or question when there is a big audience and when there is a things like that. This is very what is called very close associations, and you can speak and you can share your realizations, and that's the beauty of this sangha. Please go ahead, and if you have any questions, comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam. To Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna.
I have a question regarding morality. So, there is the law of the land, and then there is the law of Krishna, Krishna's word. So, if there is a situation where you have to say, cheat your employer, but to benefit a devotee, how would that work? What do you do? Is it morality? You're helping a devotee, but you're cheating somebody else?
Yes, it's a very involved question, Prabhu. And I'm sure there are different answers, but how I would like to sort of address it is Krishna talks about being honest and morale in responding to different things, but you are behind the scene trying to help a devotee by doing something. Is that how the use case, Prabhu? Yeah. So if that is the use case, if that is how we are trying to put forth, see what is going to happen. A time will come. A time will come as you start helping the devotee once, twice, thrice. He gets into a habit of being a receiving in the receiving end of the benefit, and he will start asking for the same benefit again and again and again. So in the long run, if this is happening, you're truly not helping the devotee in the long run. We are basically sort of trying to make him more like a easy going person who is not rigorous enough to do this. So we are so so it's a very tricky question. If you start helping, then what if you get caught and both of you are made liable for the activities? Because Krishna here says, we are, I am the punishment. So there is a risk, a reward in this activity. So so this is where we have to take, but our gurus through various different things have asked us not to take shortcuts in our decision making, and quite a lot of that we have seen when Juhu temple was made, and how Giriraj Maharaj was helping out, and there are people who were really troubling them, and how people were trying to make benefits. So a short-term benefit in the beginning is going to we're going to pay the price in the long run. So it is better to not sort of go in that direction, because often the morality aspect of uh, us not being able to uh, sort of wing the solution is going to keep uh, our pious credits negative, because we know from our heart that we have committed a wrong activity, and that is really going to make us pay. So all this bias up down by the balancing act with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is definitely accounted for. So it's better not to sort of go into that direction. But if you think by doing it, the person is going to be helped, and the person is going to learn in the long run, and then not resort to this kind of tactics, that is when once in a while, if it is not detrimental to the general mass, it is it can be thought about, but that is when we have to take the help of a counselor. But at the get-go, once we go in a immoral path, and you know how some of the kids who take to smoking later resort to other things. So it's better to control it in the beginning, and hopefully that will help the devotee in the long run. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's a comment from my side.
Thank you, Prabhu. So the idea is, if such a situation happens, it's better to refrain. Like cheat your employer and helper, or cheat anyone, may not necessarily be your employer. It's better to err on the side of caution.
Yes.
Thanks, Prabhu. Thank you.
What does other people think about this nice question from Prabhuji? That should the person who is in the path to morality, should he curb his morality, and help the devotee for a short-term gain, or not? If anybody has any thoughts, you can weigh in. Or any other general comment about the sloka, about today's discussion?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This is Vrishabhanu. The similar kind of questions, when I was with my Gurudev, somebody asked that. But what I got the answer is, if you try to help all those stuff, it is really good. But make sure you are in the right platform and you are rise above from all. Otherwise, if you are under the platform and try to help others, you also will be pulled down. So that's what the Krishna consciousness is easy. At the same time, we had to be very careful. We should know where we are standing. So that point, always we have to check ourselves. Whatever, when you help someone else, first we have to measure ourselves, where we are standing ourselves, and compare that whether we are above from that or below from that. If you have that habit of measuring, so we can progress each and every step in Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes.
Above or below them, I'm looking at the morality. So irrespective of whether somebody is above or below, if you're going to cheat somebody and help a devotee, now prima facie it may look like an act of devotional service because you're helping a devotee, but you're on the other end to help him, you're cheating somebody. So I'm not clear whether you're on a platform above him or below him.
Prabhu, if you talk about cheating, it means you are always below. The mentality we have to correct ourselves. That is called Duryodhana's mentality. You never ever think of cheating someone. So that is the basic principles. Once you come to Krishna consciousness, you are treating everyone as a product of Krishna. So how come we can train our mind that I want to cheat someone? So that has to be cleaned up. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I learned from my Guru Maharaj. So basic understanding is treat everyone as a devotee of Krishna, whether he's chanting or is not chanting. That is not a matter. because it's a product of Krishna. Paramatma is sitting inside. So how come we can think that I can cheat others? Helping others, yeah, you have to measure it, because when other party is better than you, when you try to do something, it may end up with a lot of questions, whether in argument or anything. So we have to measure ourselves whether I am eligible to help someone, or he is better than me, or how do I approach to make sure he is accepting my help. So that's, we have to measure it before doing anything, any action, so that it will go ahead.
I think, Prabhuji, you can go ahead. You're right on that track in terms of helping. You go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah, this is what I learned from my Guru Maharaj. And I was with Sadratma Prabhu, Florida, with my Guru Maharaj. So the same context I learned it. It means whatever action we are doing, we should measure ourselves where we are standing and how much we can go. We cannot go beyond our limit. So that's and even the word, how to say no, also we should know how to say no. So that's what I learned from my Guru Maharaj. So anybody can comment on that, it'll be great. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. I think everybody's response to a particular action is going to be different. That's why we are supposed to respond, not react. So everybody will respond in a different way, but the underlying principle, what we are learning, can be consistent, can be, as Prabhuji mentioned, that the Duryodhana mentality is so common in this world, and we just have to shun from that. And maybe the implementation will be slightly different, but the intent or the higher principle has to be not to cheat.
This cheating mentality of Duryodhana is for the self, right? The self is a benefactor. Here, the question is that when you're helping another devotee, there is no benefit for you in it. You're helping another devotee or for some Krishna conscious activity. Devotee is just an example.
Right.
So that Duryodhana mentality, how will that fit in? The cheating propensity. You're using it to help a devotee, not for yourself. So
Yeah. I hear that aspect, Prabhu. Thank you. The issue when you're trying to help a devotee, but that turns into some form of taking shortcuts or cheating, then what might happen is, when we help, the devotee in the long run may not learn. So it's a good opportunity for us to train the devotee to come out of it and have some discussion with the company, or however it may be, so that we help, and at the same time we not commit the because Vaishnava, his heart is like a mirror, right? So if we have kutaniti, in our mind, then it is going to bite us in the long run. That's why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur always try to shun kutaniti in our attitude, our attitude to get respect from fellow devotee and whatnot. So as long as we are shunning that and having a clear conversation, those parameters should be looked at in helping out, Prabhu.
thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. I'm sorry I didn't get his name. Very nice point he made.
see, Mr. Prabhu, if there is no other questions, we can end here.
Okay, that's nice discussions. Anything else? Anybody else would like to add? Any other questions, comments? Okay, seems like it's a beautiful section. So yeah, let's conclude if there is nothing else. Anybody else? Before we conclude, any thoughts? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Mataji.
Based on what we discussed today, I was reflecting that in the propensity of the inclination to help a devotee, and also it depends on the devotee who is helping on their consciousness, what intention they are having. I know they are having the intention to help, but externally on the moral compass, whether that is help or it is under the covers of individuals' consciousness, what are they trying to actually achieve in reality? It's looking as if they are helping, but to other devotee who's getting helped, they are getting encouragement by putting less efforts. Basically, the other side who's helping are giving that help, assistance. It also depends on their propensity and inclination and level of consciousness, what they are actually thinking when they are helping. So, because the verse today is speaking very deeply on the subject of punishment and victory and morality, so it really, I feel that it is based off of the level of consciousness. We cannot just say that, okay, it's a devotee, so we are doing this or we are doing that. We are also generally dealing with non-devotees and office people and karmi people. So our thought process should not be devotee or non-devotee. It should be seamless. But I feel it's more on the lines of your consciousness.
Yeah, this four topics, the punishment, the victory, the morality, and the silence, they are so powerful tenets in our day-to-day life that we should let the consciousness drive those decisions and not get biased with a devotee, non-devotee, because in the external appearance of a devotee, there are snakes
out there. Yes, Paul.
So, and that has been also referred in one or two places. I have read in Lilamrita as well. So we don't want to really dwell a lot on that, but essentially there is kutaniti and there is personal gains which we can sort of refrain from. But it's the consciousness which drives such powerful qualities which Krishna is saying, because Krishna is so universal. Once we start putting exceptions into the system, we will sort of complicate the outcome. So in an absolute level, Krishna is absolute, right? -3 is 3 and 3 is 3. So if we keep him more absolute, it will be beneficial for us. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing, and everyone for giving the right questions and thoughts and comments.
Okay, wonderful. Also, would like to bring your attention, and Sachimata's husband fell down and I think on black ice, and I think today was a surgery, and Mataji texted me that everybody's prayers. So let's pray together for Prabhuji's fast recovery. Everybody can chant holy name for 3 times. Mataji mentioned that, she can't, she's helping her husband and also same time can't attend the class, and she's feeling that kind of separation, from the class. We can feel that how much she's looking for this class every day. So let's also join and pray for Mataji and Mataji's husband as well. So let's pray together. Hare Krishna.
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama
Ram
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Rama,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram,
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Rama,
Ram,
Ram
Hare.
Ram, Hare Hare.
Sincere, the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, please protect the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so with this note, let's conclude.
Vancha
Kalparupasya Kripasin.
Vasindhu Vaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo.
Vrinda ki jai.
Jai,
Jai,
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Shri
Jai,
Jai,
ki jai. Ananda
Jai.
Koti.
Jai.
Guru
Jai.
Prem. Hare Hare.
Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Hemajaganath
Thank
Prabhu.
you, everybody. Hari Bol.